Society places labels on everyone, not through fair trials, but through trials that leave everyone imprisoned. You are never arrested, never formally charged. No date is circled on a calendar for you. In these trials, there are no lawyers, no jury, no witnesses, only judges, and you. There are always trials like this in session. Most of the time, you are not even aware you are under scrutiny. In these trials, everyone is expected to know the charge. Demonstrating a lack of awareness already makes you suspicious. Being surprised that the trial exists, or questioning its fairness, sounds like a defense. And defenses imply guilt. Even acting as if you were on trial is counterproductive. The verdicts are rarely spoken, but they are always understood. Unawareness of a decision at best leads to a quiet reconsideration of a favorable outcome. At worst, it reinforces a guilty one. Despite their apparent ambiguity, these trials resolve a single question with precision. Are you part of us? You can tell whether you have been accepted or condemned by how the judges behave, by their body language, their eye contact, how they respond to your questions, how often they initiate contact, how long it takes them to answer. This is how the court operates, not by determining what is true, but by determining what fits. What aligns is allowed to remain. What questions is ignored. Because these trials are not about objective truth, you can heavily influence the verdict. You can behave in ways you believe will please the judges. You soften what you mean. You translate yourself into something familiar and safe. The scrutiny eases, but what is accepted is not who you are. It is the version of you that is familiar to the court. At first, the compromise feels strategic, temporary, like cooperation. You tell yourself this is maturity, that this is how belonging works, that everyone edits themselves, that everyone wears a mask, that you are not special. But repetition turns strategy into habit, and habit turns into identity. The voice you use to remain acceptable becomes familiar, then automatic, then indistinguishable from your own. You begin to think in sentences shaped for approval. You hesitate before thoughts that arrive without permission. You forget which parts of yourself were adjusted for safety and which were never allowed to appear at all. You tell yourself you belong, that you have no reason to feel anxious, that you are not like them, the others who were rejected, who were judged incompatible with us. But who, exactly, has been accepted? The real you? Or the version the judges were prepared to tolerate? The court has ruled you compatible, and in doing so, it has quietly replaced you. This is one prison. The other prison begins when you choose to be genuine, when you respond sincerely, not primarily to appease the judges. You do not adjust. You simply are. You speak with clarity instead of caution. You insist on being yourself rather than being acceptable. The judges notice immediately. There is no debate, no rebuttal, only a label. You are no longer evaluated. The decision has already been made. You are described as intense, unreasonable, unstable, radical. They, not a us. The verdict begins to reach you through distance. You keep your voice, but you lose your place. Regardless of the choice you make before the judges, you are imprisoned. If you compromise, you are judged acceptable and slowly erased. If you refuse, you are judged incompatible and quietly excluded. One path imprisons you inside a person who is not you. The other imprisons you in loneliness, belonging without self, or self without belonging. There is no appeal. There are no higher courts.